The racing genre can be pretty divisive. You have fans like myself of arcade-style racers, such as Forza Horizon and Need for Speed, yet others are drawn to the simulation aspects of Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo. So OnRush, being an arcade racer, is a game right up my alley, a game I was looking forward to, a game I was anticipating, and a game I have put a ton of time into, so I'm ready to answer if it lived up to my expectations, if the game's good, if it's fun, but more importantly, if it's worth your time and money. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, man with a million, back again with another video. And OnRush is currently available right now for the PS4 and the Xbox One. You are watching footage from the Xbox One X version in all its glorious 60 frames per second. And I want to thank Codemasters for sending over a copy of the game for the purpose of this video. I gotta say, guys, OnRush is a complete blast. It really surprised me, actually exceeded my expectations, and it's one of the more unique racing games I have ever played. Because, quite honestly, it's not a racing game. It is a car combat game. It is a team-based game, and it's pretty interesting playing a racing game where the point isn't to memorize the track and get a perfect lap to be the first car to cross a finish line. The point is to take out your opponents and outlast them and either get the most amount of points or be the last man standing. It's such a fun game, and it really nails that chaotic feel of just 10 cars racing together at high speeds as they kind of ram into one another. It never really got old crashing into each one of the cars and knocking them out. It still, even after 15 hours, gave me a lot of joy. So basically the game is Burnout meets MotorStorm meets Overwatch, and I'm sure you guys are like, wait a minute, Overwatch, that's a first-person shooter. That doesn't make any sense, but I'll explain. Burnout, well, I'm sure you guys can just tell from the clip, it's very much like it. Really high sense of speed with the idea of taking down your enemies, whether you go off a huge jump and land on top of them, crushing them, knocking them out, maybe side-swiping into them, or steering them into an obstacle, very reminiscent of the Burnout games. Now, MotorStorm is another comparison because these are the devs from Evolution Studios, the makers of MotorStorm and Drive Club. And Overwatch, because this is a team-based racing game. It's 6 versus 6 with 8 different vehicles, or what I would call classes. You have the tank class, you have the agility class, you have the support class, and you have to mix and match those different classes and the different modes that the game offers. It's a pretty unique experience for a racing game. For instance, the Blade motorcycle is very agile, and its Rush Ultimate leaves behind a trail of fire, so any enemy caught behind it just wipes out. The Charger can magnetically attract itself to vehicles below. There's a vehicle that, when you use its special, will give shields to his teammates around them to protect them from getting rammed from somebody else. Another bike that will basically drain the boost from the enemies surrounding them. So it's very, very much like Overwatch and very team-based. So much so that sometimes it feels like you aren't really doing much to win, and then sometimes, no matter how hard you try, your team will just lose. But at its core, it's always fun, it's always chaotic, and it's just a blast to play. Now, the 4 different modes you'll be playing in the game, while not a lot, I really did enjoy 3 of them. So you have Overdrive, which is basically a mode where you score points while boosting. And boosting is, it's the lifeblood of the game. This game's about speed and maintaining turbo. And how do you maintain turbo? Well, you go off of jumps, you'll get turbo. You knock out your enemy, you get turbo. But even more than that, there are these AI cars driving around the field that really only exist for you to knock them out, and those will give you turbo. Very reminiscent of the Titanfall grunts, if you remember that game. So that's what Overdrive is all about. You also have Lockdown, which is basically King of the Hill. It's a moving zone where the goal is to get as many of your teammates in there and stay in the zone until you capture it. So it's a tug of war. You're trying to get into the zone while also trying to knock out the enemies from getting their teammates in there. It's actually a really cool mode, one of my favorites. You have Countdown, which is a mode where you drive through these gates to extend your timer, and the first team to basically 0 seconds loses. So once again, it's a chaotic rush to get through the gates while also preventing your enemies from getting through the gates. And my least favorite mode, honestly, Switch, where you have like 3 lives. You start out as a bicycle, which aren't very strong and don't do a lot of damage per se, and each time you get taken out, you kind of upgrade to the bigger vehicles, eventually making all the way up to the big tanks like the Titan and the Enforcer. And the whole point is to basically remove everybody's lives, and once the last person's life is over, that's it, game over. Those games can go for quite some time, and it's my least favorite game mode, but I do like the other 3. Now, the modes you can actually play these in, they have a campaign. You can play it online in quick match. There's custom and ranked as well. The campaign is pretty fun. It serves as a tutorial basically for the multiplayer. But since this game is 6 versus 6, you can actually play the campaign together with 5 of your other friends. That's right, you can play the game in 6-player co-op. It has 6 chapters that you can go through, and each one of the events basically teaches you about the car, which actually helps out quite a bit, as it can seem a little daunting at first. So I recommend playing through the campaign so you learn about each one of the car's abilities. Now, during each match, you have challenges that will basically pop up, whether it's to win the match, which is a normal thing, or to knock out a certain amount of fodder enemies, or do something specific and you get these stars. And the rest of the events are basically unlocked at a certain amount of stars. So you play the campaign over and over to unlock more events, and honestly, once you pretty much clear the first 3, it kind of starts repeating itself and extending the gameplay length. Eventually you'll run into tournaments which are, more than 1 match, and then you'll have ones that are like 5 matches long, and some of the challenges require you to play them multiple times. So it really extends the gameplay out and becomes a tad bit boring. But the online, when you're actually against real people, when you are actually working together as a team and picking the right cars for the right modes, is such a fun time. Now, there are 12 tracks, and the game actually looks beautiful in my opinion. On the Xbox One X, this game runs perfectly at 60 frames per second. It does have a mode where you can prioritize the resolution or prioritize the frame rate, but of course I chose the frame rate. And after each match you get awarded XP, and you can use the XP to buy cosmetics, and every time you level up you earn a gear crate, which is basically a loot box that gives you car skins, emotes, tombstones, and all that stuff, but you can't buy it with real money, so that is okay in my opinion. So honestly, at the end of the day, OnRush is a game that completely surprised me and exceeded all my expectations. It's just a fun game to play. The sense of speed that it has when it's all these cars together, all 12 people together, along with the AI, jostling for position while everyone's using turbo, using their ultimates after their boost meters have been filled. There's not really any other game like this. It's a lot of fun. It's just unfortunate that the campaign kind of just serves as a tutorial, and that one of the 4 modes, in my opinion, isn't very good. But everything else about the game is, well, awesome in my opinion, which is why I'm going to give the game an 8. An 8 out of 10, because I honestly think this game is really, really good. Now, as far as the recommendation, this is a tough one, because you have to be a fan of the arcade racing genre in the first place. Honestly, if you're a fan of Forza Motorsport or the Gran Turismo games, this isn't the simulation racer, so it probably doesn't appeal to you. And so if you're looking for an arcade racer, if you're looking for a unique one in the genre, then I fully recommend OnRush. Otherwise, I would maybe wait to a sale, wait till it's $40, wait to $30. But I think the developers should be commended. They should be rewarded with a big community, because this game is unique. It is fun. It is a blast. And I just really enjoy the game. Anyways, guys, that is the review for OnRush. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Share this out on social media. And if you want to be notified every time I upload new videos, make sure you hit that notification bell. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time in the next video. Later.